All right, good morning, everyone. Futures Brizio here. Just after 11 o'clock on Friday, Feb 21st. Hope everybody's doing well and having a good day. Happy Friday. Um, Not a heck of a lot happening this morning, but we'll just jump right in here. As always, I am live streaming, I think. So we'll see. But either way, this will be posted on the channel. So if you are watching this afterwards, just make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and questions, comments, leave them down below. If you happen to jump on the live stream, jump in, say hi. I was having some issues seeing comments, but I believe I have it figured out why. I have to keep re-authenticating the streaming key here in my OBS. So I don't know. I thought I only had to do that once, but anyways, that could be why. All right. So, anyways, without further ado, let's just jump in, see what's going on. Kind of typical Friday. Not a heck of a lot. So, we'll start here on the DAX. You can see I am in a short in the DAX here, and again, we do have kind of some bearish order flow going on right now. That's been happening really since we started with these big bearish candles earlier in the week. This was 2 days ago. So, around Wednesday or so, we started with these big drop-offs right here. And we're continuing to see some bearish order flow work into the market. We do have some areas down here a little bit lower, at least on the hey, Castaway, I see your comment. Good morning. I guess I figured out how to at least get it going for one day anyways, so hope you're doing well. We do have some areas to potentially manage this trade on the way down, at least looking at 4-hour structure levels. We have this area right here. There's another one here. So all I'm doing is just looking at areas on the higher time frame where price kind of retraced and pulled back into before making another run up. And those are just kind of management areas for a trade. It doesn't mean price will turn around at these areas, but they're just areas to watch if in this case, if you happen to be short. They're areas you can target either for take profit areas or at least trade management areas. What I mean like trade management, like let's suppose price gets down near this area, but you think it's going to go lower, then you can lower your stop and maybe lock in some profits but not exit the trade. And so at least if it does shoot back up, yes, you'll be taken out, but at least you'll hold on to some of your profit instead of just letting your stop loss be way back at your original entry and giving back what you made and taking a loss. That's never good. So that's all these are. And again, it's pretty easy to see these. You don't really need the moving average, but particularly these ones where you see bear candles like right here. This is good. I don't really count this one. Even this one's not particularly great, but it did go down here and we had strong buying off this level. So it's just an area to watch. But anyways, between now and there, between where price is now and this area, I think there's not a lot of reason to see price bounce from here. So I think we will keep going down. So I may hold this through the weekend. I don't know. I don't always like to do that because you just don't have any control of what happens. Some crazy crap over the weekend and the market reopens on Sunday night for me, and you get caught on something you shouldn't have. So, but we'll see. All right, so that's DAX. For cattle, it's Friday, so this market has limited trading hours, but we obviously are in clear bearish price flow. The only little issue I had with this one in looking at taking another short is, we failed to put in a new low yesterday. This is the 30-minute chart. We failed to put in a new low on this rundown. Doesn't mean price is going to go up, but we did retrace back up. And then if we look at a shorter time frame, let's even go down to a 5-minute. We could potentially be making a little turn down here. I mean, again, I'm not a big fan of real short time frames. But if you're looking for, what they like to call sniper entries, if we're looking for shorts, then we have this move up. which I just showed you on the 30-minute, went down a little bit, tried to go back up, put in an apparent lower high right here. So a low risk potential opportunity would be to short it from here, and I would just put my stop literally right above here. I know it's only a 5-minute, so it's not a lot of room, but you know what? If it turns and goes back up, you don't want to be in it anyways, because that means it's not heading back down right now. So so that would be a low risk entry. The only thing is, like I said, this market has limited hours. It closes at like 2:30, I want to say, my time. So it's only open for another 3 hours as it is. And generally, the way this thing flows for cattle is that because it's such limited hours, it usually has most of its price move early in the session, and then the rest of the day it just kind of either retraces or just does nothing. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not in a trade on this right now, but I don't know. We'll see. As I mentioned, though, cattle is, if you're new to trading futures or you don't have properly sized account, I would avoid trading cattle because there's no micro or minis in this market. It's just the full Globex contract specs. So if it works out, good, you can really make bank. But if it moves against you, you can lose a lot of money quick because, like I said, it doesn't have a smaller size contract option the way all these other ones do. So just be cautious of that. The only reason why one of the reasons why I look at cattle is because I also have a funded futures account, and they don't have DAX. The particular prop firm I'm using for it doesn't have DAX, which is really surprising, or copper, which I'm not as surprised, in their options for markets they trade, but they do have cattle, which is kind of weird. So, I think, I think that's a little weird. But anyways, that's why I look at cattle, just because I was trying to find something else that trades kind of like a North American session that the prop firm offers, and cattle just was one of those things. And co-carnivores, yeah. Well, in this case, we don't want the carnivores because I want price to go down. So, but yeah, normally I would agree with you, Castaway. So, anyways, because we are in bearish flow, but we see we did have a huge run up here on this market. Again, this is the April contract, so we don't have a lot of price history, but from when the contract started, price really has been in a solid uptrend. But as I stated before, I do think in this down move, we certainly have room to run, probably all the way back down to this area. I mean, we're just making very steady bearish order flow here on the 4-hour chart. So anyways, so that's cattle. No trade I've taken on it today. Whether I want to do anything with it today or not is kind of questionable at this time. So, all right, so on to natural gas. Natural gas did have a nice spike up this morning. I mean, we are still in bullish order flow. Here's the 4-hour chart. Here's the low. It put on this big push down, and it went up. It did run up. I did have a long on this yesterday, as you recall. And then, today we went down on the hour. This is the hourly chart. We did spike lower, went up. We didn't put in a new high. We came up a little short of this high. So, but again, it's Friday, so since I didn't trade it earlier, I'm certainly not taking anything on it now. We'll see if the price is able to come and take out this high, or whether we get a lower high put in and then this does roll over and start going down. Maybe this was like a blow off top here on the higher time frame, and this is the first sign of a bigger move down. If this fails to put in a new high right here and we start rolling over on a shorter time frame, then I definitely would consider this to be more bearish for sure. Okay, guys, so you're probably going to hear my dog going crazy. I think there's a delivery guy out front, so I do apologize if you hear that in the background. So there's not much I can do about it. She's a little crazy. But on natural gas, I guess I'd be looking, this is a 30-minute chart. If we take out any structure, I mean, we have this 30-minute level right here, this last swing before this high. that's a little far away, but it's only a 30-minute chart. If price comes down and breaks through here, then certainly we're going to head lower. So let's see. It's at a critical spot, because if this doesn't put in a new high right here, and we don't break through here, then that could be kind of the end of this uptrend. I think from a seasonal standpoint, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, that natural gas really should start to trend down just because, price already been, well since priced in for winter, for heating use of natural gas. There has been some, from a fundamental standpoint, again, the United States is, again, gone back to exporting more natural gas, which had kind of been put on hold a little bit. So that theoretically could keep prices supported, as more supply goes out the door. But from a seasonal standpoint, anyways, I think we've probably seen the peak in natural gas for this year. So, for the season. So we'll see what happens. Hey, Castaway. Now, turns out it was my neighbor's house. I just looked out my office window here, and he was dropping off. It was FedEx dropping off something at my neighbor's. So if he had come to the door, to our front door, which is right next to my office, she would have gone berserk. She totally freaks out over delivery people. So I probably actually would have had to have stepped away from the mic just to pull her away from the door because she freaks them out. So anyways, but turns out it was my neighbor, so that's good. So she did bark because she saw him pull up outside, but he didn't come to the door, which is the key. Okay, so enough of that. That's natural gas. We'll see what it does next week. If we roll over, or if we're able to break through here and make a new high, then the uptrend's in place. But at this point, with this type of pattern where we see a big push down, you got to remember, if you look back, we haven't had a move down like this really in the whole time this contract has been in place. So when you see a really big push down like this, and it takes out all of this structure, and it's just, you could just tell this is a much more aggressive move down than all these other little pullbacks we saw here. When you see that, and then you see price work back up, this is just kind of corrective. This is the bulls trying to like come back in here and push it higher. But if this fails now and you don't take out the swing high, I mean, obviously all this was tradable to the upside, and I did trade a lot of this. I think I took three long trades this week on this. So this is all tradable back to the upside. But you have to remember though, if we fail to take out this now, and price just rolls over from here and starts going down, and we start making lower highs and lower lows on the shorter time frames, and especially if we come down and take out this swing right here, then that's probably the end of the uptrend. So, and I'd be looking for shorts at that point. All right, so last on futures is copper. So copper just continues to chug along inside this range that I've had drawn on the chart all week. We have this swing and just not seeming to be able to break out of here. I did take a position on this early this morning. I closed it in a loss, so it wasn't a big one. I thought maybe we were going to, again, it was being a little aggressive. I thought maybe we would break out of this zone, but it didn't go anywhere, so I closed it, and it's probably a good thing that I did. So from a standpoint of the structure, at this point, I'm going to just adjust this rectangle. I would have to see price break through this level, take out these lows, start moving lower, or come up and take out, I'm just looking at this, this swing area. So unless I'm done trading copper until this, until either we see at minimum a break above this swing high, which led to this low, or a break below this low, and then, maybe a little pullback and then down. But in the meantime, as long as copper is just trading inside this rectangle, especially, this is no interest to me. You just get cut up in here. I think a case could be made either way for this going. But again, if you look from a standpoint of market structure, the uptrend is technically still in place because we haven't officially closed below this low. It's made at least 3 attempts at it, but it hasn't been able to withstand the push down. But We do have current bearish order flow, although overall, though, we haven't totally negated the uptrend yet. So when you're uncertain like that, if it's not obvious, you know, I might make one stab at it, but after that, I'm just going to step aside and leave it. So that's it on futures. Over to Forex. Wasn't really much today. I am in a short on euro dollar on my funded account, and basically, even though I was talking yesterday that pound dollar and euro dollar had some current bullish order flow, basically, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, potentially went up today, and again failed to take out this high on this daily candle yesterday, and so that was a little telling. And if you look at the daily chart overall, now recent, and I like to look at price from like the last swing, and technically this was all tradable to the upside, but the overall market flow is still bearish. The only thing that I was kind of like really keeping an eye on was the fact that we had this swing here on the daily chart. Price came down, failed to make a new low, and that usually is a telltale sign of at least a pullback, which is what we got. We had this failed low, came up, made a note, but again, we never took out the swing. This right here, would have been your swing high, and we that led to a low that never was taken out. So theoretically, the overall market flow in this pair is still negative, is still bearish. And then, we had, this was the low, the swing high that led to this actual recent low. So we could just, roll over and just start turning down again. We did put in on the hourly chart today, a few hours ago. Again, here's that high, and we failed to put in a new high. That's right here. You can see it on the shorter time frame, right? Put a trend line on there. You can clearly see it's a lower high. And so now we're rolling over. And so is this the beginning of another leg down? Quite possibly. But I think a good target for this in the short term is back to this hourly swing. But, and I think it's pretty much the same thing for the pound USD. Except we don't have, let's go out to the daily. We don't have that swing, that lower high right next to it, or that higher high right next to it that we see on euro dollar. And again, but from the standpoint of this low on up, we've been making higher highs. That technically is still in place. So this one's a little bit more dicey, a little less clear about whether we're overall. But again, if you're looking at the daily chart, yes, I mean, you can get a big perspective of what's going on here overall, which is bearish order flow, especially from like this level. This was the last major swing high that led to this new low. That hasn't been breached yet. So theoretically, all of this move up is just corrective. And as long as this area doesn't get taken out on the daily chart, I still overall consider this in a downtrend, when you look at from here to here. But again, we're putting in these higher highs and higher lows from this point is tradable on a shorter time frame. It's just a matter of, okay, does that end and we start rolling over again? Well, I think on this pair, it's not quite as obvious. If I look at like the 4-hour chart, we've got this little 4-hour structure right here. And I think price would have to probably, for me, come down and take this out before I would consider this larger downtrend to still be in place. Otherwise, we could continue to chug higher. So we'll see what happens. But this one's not as neat and clean. So I'll just wait and see. And like I said, I am in a short in euro dollar. I'm not going to take pound dollar short too. They're very closely correlated pairs. They don't move exactly the same, but they move very closely together. And so if you take the same trade in both, and you're wrong, you're going to have double the loss. Yes, I realize on the other side you'd have double the win if you're right, but I'm not willing to take that risk, especially when it's unclear and when one of them still looks like it's in bullish order flow, which this one does more so than the euro, then I'm not willing to take that risk. So the euro looked more bearish, so I took the short in that one. All right, so that covers pound dollar, euro Aussie. Again, we're still moving lower here. I'm mostly looking at this on a daily chart for pullbacks, and obviously there's been no entry this week. Again, the entry was last week back here. You could go down to a shorter time frame and look for shorts like this is the 30-minute. We had this entry right here. It's pulled back now, back above the 30. So is this another short here? I don't know. But it's definitely in bearish order flow. So I am only looking for shorts in here, whether I decide to trade it on the shorter time frame or just wait for larger pullbacks on the daily chart. I'll just have to see what it looks like, but definitely bearish euro Aussie. Okay, so the yen pairs, as I was talking about yesterday, although they have continued down today, they still haven't taken out. So this is the euro yen. You can see we've had this big bearish 4-hour candle. So this just does continue to chug lower. We do still have, we go out to the weekly here on this one, and I'll take this rectangle off. We do still have this area. And if you look back on the weekly chart, we've got, I mean, this goes back almost 2 years ago. But we have, all of this zone right here, you can see has been acting as pretty good support for about 2 years. Price has spiked through it a few times, but you can see it snapped back and ended up closing at or above this area. It's not an exact area. Something like that. I mean, you could draw it with a rectangle too. And now we're coming back down to that area again. So again, with this, you could continue to trade it short on a shorter time frame. But just be aware of these levels below here, and that I think eventually we're going to see. Now, if we come down and we totally smash through all these lows, then that's one thing. But you can see some of these lows, this is the weekly chart, go way down here. Like you look at this wick. So really the zone for this is technically like this. I mean, if you want to really capture all these lows. And this is a lot. This is a weekly chart. I mean, just the width of this box alone is 360 pips just inside this box alone. So you got to really, it doesn't look like a lot, but on a weekly chart, this is a lot of real estate in here. So the question is, does it push further down inside this box? It might, or do we react off of, here again? So we'll wait and see. I'm just, like I said, for now, I'm probably not trading these yen pairs short until it kind of clears up a little bit. And it's pretty much the same view on the Swiss yen. We've got this major zone. Price did come down here last week. Tag this again. This is the weekly chart. Tag this area bounce, and now it seems to have failed. Go to the daily chart. Here was that reaction off the daily, which really just set us up for another low. So again, this one's a little more clear in terms of levels. If we get a break, essentially, below this area right here, if we take out these lows definitively, then I think we'll head lower. We do have some other management areas off to the left here, but a breakthrough here and then a retest potentially of this area would be a nice continuation of the short on this. And the yen, fundamentally is a little stronger, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens. But as long as it's chopping at this level, I don't want to get caught in like the froth and the whipsawing here. So I'll wait for it to figure out what it wants to do. And if it is going to break through and go lower, there's plenty of downside to catch a trade. And so I'm not going to rush it, just for FOMO. So dollar yen, again, pretty much the same story. Here's the daily chart. We have this level. This was the last kind of big swing area. Prices come down here. And it did react off of here. This was earlier in the week or a few days ago. This is the 30-minute chart. You take this off. Here's where it came into that box, reacted, and came down again. So the question is, does this area, is this just a big retracement? And this little sub-low holds right here, and price starts to move back higher again from here? or are we going to come down and smash through this low? If we do, and we take this low out, then I do think that, we could continue to see lower prices. Although, again, keeping in mind that we have this other major low back here on the daily chart that's like basically the bottom side of this rectangle. So I would want to kind of see what that does. And this isn't a lot. I mean, this is a daily chart. This could easily break through here in one daily candle. Okay, so we should know pretty quick. This comes down here within probably a couple of trading days, whether this area gets taken out and we keep moving lower, or whether it holds and we come back and start taking out structure back up. Then we know that we're heading back higher. So again, the bottom line is on the yen pairs, they're all in areas now where it's going to be decisive about whether the downtrends continue or we get some kind of turn back up again. I'm not going to guess. I was just going to say I'll take a guess, but I don't want to do that because I don't like trying to put my own bias into the market. But I will say from a fundamental standpoint, there's reason to believe the yen has more strength involved with it now. And if that turns out to be the case, that fundamentally the yen is strengthening, then these downtrends will continue. So, but we'll just have to wait and see. When we come into these major structure levels, whether you want to call these demand levels or support levels, in this case, whatever you want to call it, when they come down into these areas, I'm cautious because everybody else sees these areas too, right? So they become kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. You have buyers that will try to scoop off the lows and go higher. You have people that were short taking profits at those levels, so that's going to push price higher. It's just a matter of whether it's sustained, and at the end of the day, it's up to the big players in the market whether that's sustained. Whether you or I think that or take trades off these levels or close trades at these levels makes almost no difference. Other than maybe little spikes in price, but nothing that'll be sustained. At the end of the day, it's up to the banks and the hedge funds and the large players that push the market, and we just have to wait for them to play out their hand. And a lot of them, especially your big players, your hedge funds and stuff. I mean, for the most part, they're looking at higher time frames. They take a bigger perspective on things. That's why I like to look at the daily chart because a lot of them are taking their cues off of that anyways. So let's just wait and see. At least that's what I'm doing anyways. It is tempting. Obviously there was a short here and I didn't take this because I've been saying the last couple of days I was leery about this area. Obviously this would have been a nice short. And by my system with the moving average, I could have taken it. And quite honestly, if we weren't sitting at these levels down here, I would have taken it. I can tell you because this is very choppy price action, but sometimes you kind of get that accumulation phase where it does this kind of stuff and then bam, it just shoots right up. In this case, it rolled over and went back down. But again, we're coming back down to the origin of this move up. And so is it going to be taken out or are we going to, really turn and start heading back up here? Now, either way, I'm fine with it because if we start heading back up from here, there's obviously tons of room to the upside too. We do have, on the daily time frame, a little a management area here on the daily chart, but that's a long way off still. So if price started breaking structure on the shorter time frame, it looked like it was going higher, you're still looking at 400 pips back up to this level. So even if this was the only area you targeted back to the swing, the recent daily swing, that's still 400 pips away. But I'm not going to rush it. We'll see what it does next week. I'm happy to let it go for today. Obviously, it's getting too late in the session to open any new trades for me. So I won't be doing that anyways. So we'll see what happens with all these yen pairs next week. I think how one goes, they're all going to go. It's just a matter of because if it's being driven by the yen, if these moves are being driven by either yen strength or yen weakness, they're all going to go the same way. It's just a matter of some will look cleaner than others based on the other currency it's linked to. In this case, for me, the dollar yen, Swiss yen, euro yen. it, but they're all gonna basically travel the same direction if it's the yen that's causing the move. Which in this is definitely the yen that's causing these down moves. It's been strength in the yen. There's no doubt about that. So, Castaway, both my brokers don't allow me on Forex. What you're in Canada? You're in Canada, you said? I mean, you can trade Forex in Canada. I don't know what broker you're using. Um, so are you just trading futures then? Is that why? So you're using a futures broker and they don't offer Forex. I'm assuming that's what it is. If that's what it is, then I understand it because I have for my personal account for futures, I have a futures broker, and you're right, they don't allow Forex trading on their platform for U.S. traders. They do offer Forex, but they're not licensed. Um, okay, yeah, yeah, so that's why. Yeah, they don't. They're not licensed in Canada to offer Forex. Like I said, I use AMP futures, which is for my personal futures. They're based in Chicago. And yeah, they only allow, for U.S. traders, they only allow futures trading. Um, they do, I think they do offer Forex, but only for traders outside the U.S. where they don't have to follow the U.S. regulations for Forex brokers. So yeah, if you want to trade Forex, you'd have to open an account with a different broker, with a Forex broker. That's the only way you could do it. I actually don't have a personal Forex account anymore. This actually was my Forex live account that I'm still using the charts. This is with Oanda. I left $1 in the account just so they would leave my account open so I could still use the charts. Because I do just like using MetaTrader. It's very basic. It's very old school. It's very outdated, quite frankly. But for what I do, I don't need 8,000 fancy indicators and all the crap that other platforms use. I do have a full TradingView account. I mean, I have a premium TradingView, and I could just use my analyze Forex pairs on there. But again, I just like the basic functionality of MetaTrader. It suits me perfectly fine for what I do. I don't need all the fancy stuff, even though I have all the fancy stuff in my TradingView account. I just don't do it. I use TradingView to place my futures prop firm trades, not my personal account. My personal account, I use AMP, which is this. This is my AMP account. They use MetaTrader 5. Oh, that's one of the platforms they offer, which is what I opted for. So this is my personal account with AMP, and this is an MT5 account. So, but I also have a prop firm futures account, and that is linked on TradingView through Tradeovate and my funded futures. That's the prop firm I'm using, and that I place those trades on TradingView. So, but for Forex, I have my old live Oanda account that I just kept open just so I can keep my MT4 with them. But the only trades I take in Forex are on my funded account. I don't have a personal account anymore in Forex. I just chose not to. I just put everything I had into my futures account just so I'm not spreading too thin. But I do like to keep one hand in Forex, and so I just chose to just do it as a prop firm account, and I'm still in the challenge phase with that because I don't take a lot of trades, so I'm just building it low and slow just to stay within their rules because I'm doing the one-step one where you don't have to do the two-phase challenge. It's just one phase. But if you choose the one phase, they really make it very restrictive, so you got to be really careful you don't violate their drawdown rules. So I'm just going very low and slow, and when I get there, I get there. But I don't have any of my own money at risk other than the challenge, the fee I paid for the challenge. So that's how I'm doing it. But yeah, you'd have to get a separate Forex account if you wanted to, do anything with Forex or, a prop firm. So, Let me just catch up on messages. So you got locked out of Top Step. Did you breach one of their rules? Is that why they scrapped you? Did you breach one of the drawdown rules? I know Top Step is a prop firm, so I've never used them. I don't know. I don't think I ever used them, but I've certainly heard of them. So, but yeah. So yeah, I agree. Like TradingView has. I mean, if you use it, they have every freaking type of chart layout, and I have the premium, which is the highest, or the pro. I don't know, whatever the highest one is. I bought it on Black Friday. Every year they run like 60% off on Black Friday in December, where they really cut their rates. So that's the only time I buy any of their paid ones, and I went for the most expensive one, and I probably didn't need to, because I just don't use all that. They have like all the different chart types and stuff, and I don't use any of that. I just use candles. Once in a while I might flip over to a line chart, but I can do that on MT, on MetaTrader. I can just flip over like this to a line chart. I don't need that. They have Kagi charts and Renko charts and volume charts and all kinds of different charts, and then 8 billion indicators. And I don't care or use any of that stuff. I don't need it. Anything that I need to trade with, it's pretty much in MetaTrader. I mean, I don't even need this moving average, to be quite honest. I do like having it on there. I've kind of gotten used to having it now, but I could take it off and be perfectly happy and just use price action. So yeah, TradingView is really cool. I know it has a lot of good features, like the replay feature, where you can kind of go back, and it helps with back testing and just kind of reviewing trades. That's pretty cool. I do like the replay feature, which MetaTrader doesn't really have that. They do have a feature where you can advance candles, where it'll stick the chart to the right side of the screen, and you can just use like one of your F12 key or something and click through. But it's not like MetaTrader, where it kind of like erases all that price action and you can go through it like it had never happened yet. So there are some cool features for sure, but like I said, the only thing I really use it for is to place my futures prop firm trades. The other thing I will use it for is for my if I want to look at cash charts. So yeah, right. Yeah, you're talking about TradingView discounts. Yeah, I got you. Um, yeah, I don't have it brought up right here, my TradingView. Um, so for TradingView, yeah, I like the replay feature. I do like looking at cash charts for futures, and I've talked about that on other videos. So like the issue with futures charts is that you've got like this is a contract month. Let's say you're looking at a March contract, or if you look at you look at something like cattle, right? So this is April. You don't have a lot of price action here because it's a contract month. It's limited, the amount of data you can see. But if you go on TradingView and you type in live cattle, you can find the cash chart, which is like a Forex chart. It just goes on in perpetuity for as long as TradingView will show you data. And the cash charts move very, very similar to the futures charts. The pricing might be a little different, but the patterns overall are almost the same. So if you wanted to get like that daily view of price action like I do for Forex, you can't really do that on futures charts, because if I go to the daily chart of this, I mean, this is all I can see, right? This is it, right? It's like you're missing all the past data to kind of reference back on. I mean, this isn't bad, but if you go to TradingView and you look up live cattle when you search for a new symbol, not the not the futures, but like what they call the cash or the CFD charts. You can actually get a cash chart, which again is going to look very similar, and they have that for copper, well, for any market. So I do use TradingView for the cash charts, like for copper, natural gas, cattle. So if I do want to take a bigger perspective, like out to a daily chart, then I'll go to TradingView and I'll look at the cash chart on the daily. So those are basically the few things I use on TradingView for replay, placing my futures prop firm, and looking at cash charts when I need to. But other than that, I don't really use it. And quite frankly, I don't need that top end account to do that, but I just chose to. I probably won't renew it, to be honest. So, yeah, you do save a lot. I mean, on that on that top account, the premium or whatever the heck they call it, with that discount, it was like $400 less. It was something crazy. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. And I'll just, I just won't renew it. I actually already shut off the auto renew, so they don't automatically hit me for it at the end of the year when I'm not thinking about it. So, and you know, they run that special every year. So whatever, if I choose to, I'll renew it. So anyways, so yeah, so that's about it. Probably not much else going on the rest of today. So I'm probably gonna zip out of here. I gotta run out. And go do some other stuff. So thanks for jumping on, Castaway, and everybody else. If you're watching this after the fact, you know, like I said, as always, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, leave questions or comments down below, and I'll be back. I don't know if I'll be back on Sunday night. Probably not, unless there's anything really happening. But I'll be back next week. We do have some friends visiting early over the weekend next week, so my time on here for YouTube will probably be a little bit limited, but we'll catch everybody then. Thanks for jumping on, Castaway, and catch you in Discord or whatever, and appreciate it. All right, take care.